Well, good evening again. Okay, we're back in the garage. We're back in the garage, and the fantastic thing is, we're not going to do fairing. And you'll notice the garage is incredibly tidy. Doesn't look particularly tidy if I sort of show you down here and that, but it is. This is just a couple of boxes of bike bits that I've got out and just strewn out all over the floor. So the garage is tidy, dust free, which is the big thing. There's my fairing, fantastic. Here's one of my cats. He's very uninterested in the bike. Yeah, not that bothered. So this is the fairing, as we saw yesterday. And having a fairing causes us a few issues. Now you'll notice with the camera, I've actually got a tripod here at the minute, so hopefully it'll be a lot steadier than it usually is, but we'll see. So I can like just put it there, and it stays where I put it. It's fantastic. Never thought of inventing such a thing. It's genius. Right, first problem we have then with said fairing is it's very low in relation to the bars. Okay, which means the original brake master cylinder on the front, obviously if that was on there, it wouldn't work because it's going to impact on it's going to hit the fairing as we try and turn the bars. So we need to get a lever set with like a remote reservoir. So we can't do anything with these. We can't fit these ones. So we need to get a new set of levers. So we can't do that in a minute. So what we are going to do then, we are going to, well, what we were going to do, let me take this camera off a minute. Let me take this camera off. What we were going to do was to do the clocks. I found my speedo, it was hiding in the toolbox. We were going to do the clocks, but I'm going to struggle to do the clocks just yet, because obviously if I have a clutch lever, my cable, when I turn the bars, the cable is going to have a bit of a sort of swing round where I want to fit the clocks. So we're going to have to bolt some, not actually fit the levers properly or anything like that. We just need to bolt some in place, and I don't have any to bolt in place. I might do it with the original clutch lever, which I have here. But we're going to ignore that for a minute. What we are going to do then, in the first instance, we're going to sort out the lock stops, because we've got to sort out the lock stops, and we're going to fit this steering damper. So first job, steering damper and lock stops. And we've had a change of plan then. Let's have a look at this. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so the steering damper then. So the steering damper, what the steering damper is there for is to stop the steering, or to stiffen up the steering a little bit, just in case we get any sort of tank slappers or anything like that while we're riding the thing. So it has to go somewhere between the forks and the frame. Okay, so we've got to mount it somewhere between there and there, essentially, on one of the yokes or fork leg or anywhere. Really doesn't really matter. And my original plan with this was to have to sort of just put it down underneath, somewhere out of the way really. But I've had a change of heart. I want to go a little bit hooligan with this thing. And you'll notice this with the clocks as well. We're gonna emphasise the racer. In Calf Racer, we're gonna start emphasising the racer a little bit. This isn't really emphasising the racer. This is just going a bit boy racer-ish. This is, yeah, this steering damper, or where I'm going to mount it, is a bit like jacking up your Ford Capri or lowering your Vauxhall Corsa. And I've decided what I'm going to do with this steering damper, I'm actually going to mount it across the top of the tank, like that. Now this might upset a few people, but you know, hey, let's just do it. Let's do it and see. Well, let's see if we can do it first of all. Now, this does cause us a bit of an issue, so I'm going to want to mount that across the tank like that. Let me show you what the issues are. Issues are, first of all, we then have to, bear in mind, I've got to mount it between the forks and the frame. And the forks are easy because there's loads of top yoke and fork I can mount one half of the steering damper to. Frame's not quite so easy. Here's my frame down in there. The only space available to me then is between the tank and the top bearing, which is, I reckon it's probably about 12 millimeters or so. So if I was going to do such a thing, I would have to bring a bracket up through that gap. Bearing in mind that, yeah, that'll be okay. That won't make too much difference to it. So I'll have to bring a bracket up through from the frame to sit up here somewhere on top of the tank to mount to the frame. Okay, okay. You fool, you're thinking. But hey, let's just see if it works first of all. So what we need is a bit of metal. This is my metal over here. Bear with me, I'll tell you what, I'll find a bit of metal and then I'll show you what I'm intending to do, or what I'm thinking of doing. Back again. Okay, so we've got a little bit of metal here. It's about 6mm plate, so nice big. That's right, it's going to have to be strong, this bracket, if we put a bracket there. That's too wide, but 6mm will go down there. We could tack it on to the frame, bring it up and weld a little plate on the top of it to mount the steering damper too on that end. Okay, go on, let's do it. Let's do it. Hacksaw. Back in a bit. I'll tell you what, I'm loving this tripod business. Sitting there nice and steady. Okay. One bracket started. So this will weld onto the frame down in there. This should be pretty solid. This is quite a lump of metal. We can tidy it up once it's in. So if that's there, it will miss the steering, so it won't impact on the top yoke, and it's not touching the tank. So oh, we've got that bloody dust. Okay, so it can sit in there like that. We'll be able to take the tank off and on, and it won't get in the way. And then in theory, we should be able to bolt our steering damper to that, and it's mounted solid to the frame. Let's try. Let's try. Yes, go on, that's got to be it, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, I love it. Okay. So what we would need to do then would be to make a bracket from somewhere over that side of the yoke to come out to join onto the steering damper there. We'd have to figure out exactly where it was. So what we need to do first, we probably need to do this lock stops first, don't we? So we've got the lock stops, we know how far we're going to be able to turn the steering, and then we can position this to fit correctly. Zoom out. Look at that, I love that. I think that's fantastic. I think that's fantastic. Oh. You can make it work. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make some. I'll just quickly make some lock stops up. I say quickly. Let's have a look. What I'm going to do. I might take the fairing off. Let's take the fairing off. Let's take the fairing off and we'll have a look at the lock stops quickly and come back to this in a second. Okay then, from a lock stop point of view, we're going to take it, the steering from around about there to there. So that's our range. That's how far we're going to make it go. It's going to be, the steering circle on this isn't going to be fantastic, but it will be adequate. Okay, so we've got to figure out a way of stopping that from going any further than that. And I reckon the way to go will probably be off of the original Kawasaki lock stops here, look. So if you look at this, so there's the Kawasaki stop, and you can see that's full range, that's way too far. But you can see it misses completely, it's completely in the wrong place. So I reckon what I'll do, all I'll do is just put a plate, screw a plate onto the pegs on the bottom yoke. And I think that'll do. So I won't video it, I'm just going to cut a little piece of metal and screw it onto there and shape it a little bit so it'll work. Okay, so I'll give it a go and I'll show you the end result. Good morning. I had a very strange geometry dream last night. I had a bit of a moment regarding that. But let's have a quick look. All we've done, lock stops. So we've just put just a little bit of aluminium around the original BMW lock stop, so it meets up with the Kawasaki stops on the yoke, on the lower yoke, and all good. So the lock stops, that's how much range we have. And regarding the steering damper, then what we've done with the steering damper, so we've made up a little bracket. We haven't welded it to the frame, so it's just in there. But we're going to think of welding that down in there somewhere. He says, oh, bollocks. Don't worry about that. Okay, so welding it down in the bottom there, so it's nice and solid. We can get it just right so there's clearance from the top yoke and from the tank, so we can manipulate it that way, which is fine, and get it mounted in the right place. And then we were thinking about, this is where I had my geometry dream. I was thinking, well, this is never going to work, but it will if I swing a bracket off of the top yoke there, where that hacksaw blade is stuck to it. The distance from there to there equates to around about sort of 35mm or so of movement on this thing. Which is fine, it doesn't have to go full travel at all. I mean, it doesn't matter, it's only there just to stiffen it up a little bit, isn't it? After all, which is great. So, what do you reckon? What do you reckon to that? Now, not everybody's going to like this. People are going to look at this and think, oh no, what are you doing? I think it's pretty, I quite like it actually. I think it looks, yeah. I quite like it. I like it there. I've been looking at it everywhere else and seeing about mounting it everywhere else, and down here and underneath and everything else, and I think that's my favourite place. So all we need to do is to make it so it's level. When the steering is straight ahead, I want the steering damper to be dead straight as well, so it's all in line. Okay, so that bracket seems to work, the bracket I've made to go down there. All I've got to do is make up a bracket here. Now the difference, or the difficulty, or not the difficulty, the question is, shall I bracket off of the top yoke, or shall I go over to my dad's and make a little clamp that will go around the top of the fork leg and go off of that instead. Hey. I don't know, but I quite like that fork leg sticking up through the top, so I don't really want to put a bracket around it, I don't think. I think in the first instance I might try making a bracket off of the yoke itself. I don't think the videos are really doing this justice. I think you've almost got to all pop round and come and have a look at the bike so you can see it in the flesh, to appreciate what it really looks like. Because you kind of have to study bits of it. So I'll get the kettle on if anybody wants to come round. Right, so we're going to make a bracket off of the, we're going to try it off of the yoke rather than doing that, coming off the top of the shock. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just try and make it out of one sort of flat piece of stainless, just by bending it, cutting it and bending it. So in the first instance, I'm just making it out of little bits of cardboard to get the shape. Do you see what I mean? And then when I've got the shape, I'm going to lay it all out flat so I can cut it out of one flat piece of metal. Okay, I think it will work, but I'm not going to drill any holes just yet. Okay, so I'll just cut one out, bend it up and see what happens. So I have a nice little bit of stainless here, probably I don't know, 3mm maybe, 2.5, 3mm thick, which I reckon will be strong enough and man enough to do the job. And this, to fit this on, I'm going to have to change the shape a tiny little bit, but that's not an issue. I reckon that would just about do it. So I'm going to cut it, mark it and cut it out of this, and then try and drill some holes and bend it. Right, what we've done, we've just tacked, very, very hot, we've just tacked that little bracket onto the frame, down there. Not welded it. A lot of the welding on this is just tacked at the minute, because when we strip the frame up down to get it paint, or to paint it rather, we're going to paint it ourselves somehow or other. We'll clean everything up then and do all of the welding much better when it's all apart. So that's tacked on. The bracket then, so I've made this lovely little bracket. This is a little bit of stainless steel, and this is going to, oh shit, this bracket is going to bolt onto the top yoke, like so. Look at that, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? The blue line there then, the blue line there is where the bolt is, the clamp bolt. I've got to drill some holes in this, and I don't want to perforate it with holes. I've just been very careful about where I am drilling holes. So I'm just going to put a couple in from this side. I am going to bolt it from underneath as well, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to do that once I take it apart. Okay, so I'm not going to take it off now, just to bolt and bracket on. Okay, so I'm just going to drill this and tap a couple of holes and bolt this little bracket on here, then we'll see if the thing works. Well, there's no going back now. Remember how long this took to make? I've just drilled 2 holes in the side of it, and I'm just currently putting a thread in the holes. Okay, so I'll do this, and yeah, back to you very soon. Right, well, both brackets are on. That one's welded into place, well, tacked into place. This one we got a couple of, just put some threads in, just put some dodgy bolts in there. Again, this is another thing we're going to have to do at some point or other, is just replace all of the bolts and the thing. But I really like the look of that bracket. I think it looks pretty smart. So that one's stainless. This one will paint with the frame. Okay. Let's put this bad boy damper on there and see how it looks. See if it works. Yeah, well, there we go. It's bolted on and it works. Genius. Okay, so lift that up, say, down to that log stop, down to that log stop. stiffen it up a little bit, or a lot rather. This is great. Okay, that seems to work. This bracket needs to, that bracket looks lovely. This one's out of stainless. This one needs a bit of time. This will be painted, I guess, when we paint the bike, won't it, really? Let's face it. Okay, alright, well let's put a tank on and see if it fits. Right, okay, speedo and rev counter then. And rev counter first of all. So you can see our rev counter here. Now I appear to have lost all of the videos I made when I was doing the fair, and I've deleted all the videos. I've done something with them, I can't find them anywhere. But this is our rev counter. It is the original rev counter off the bike. We've cut it apart from the speedo and sort of turned it into 1 gauge rather than 2. Took it apart, changed the dial on it, because if you look at the dial then, so I want the red line pointing straight upwards. Okay, and then so our clocks, that's our rev counter. Our speedo, the speedo, we just got a little digital speedo. So I'd have to put a pulse generator on the bike for the speedo. But this is all about then. This is again emphasising the race in Calf Racer. This is all about the rev counter. And the idea here then is the rev counter is going to sit bang central, like so. Okay. Although sit higher, it's going to sit up. Sort of up here somewhere. I can't hold it there at the minute, but that's where it's going to sit. So all you can really see is the rev counter. That's the idea. And then the speedo. The speedo is just gonna. Sorry, it's going to be put down the back here somewhere. So imagine this will be down there somewhere out of the way. Okay, almost like it's an afterthought, and that's what I want it to look like. I want it to look like the speedo's only there because it has to be. So it's just it's an afterthought. It's not important. Okay, so it's not going to be it won't be straight or flush or anything like that. It's just going to bolt in however I bolt it in, and it's going to be designed to look like it's just thrown in there. It won't be just thrown in there. But I think that's what I'm going to do. That's my idea at the minute anyway. I might also have to put a little dashboard down here as well. I can't remember, to be fair, how many lights are on it. I think this might have all of the lights on it that I need. I'm not sure. But I will need a couple of switches. So I might put a little dashboard down there as well. But that's the idea. So first off the rev counter and then the speedo. Well, we'll mount them both at the same time. So we've just got to figure out a way of mounting it and making it look reasonable. I think what I'll do, I think I might actually post this video, you know, when I'm on a roll. I've just posted one with the fairing. I could post one. I've done the steering damper. We've done the lock stops. So let's post this video. Let's post this video, and then we will the next video. What I'll do, I'll have a look around, see if I can find the stuff where I was cutting up the rev counter. The next video will be actually mounting of the rev counter. And hopefully by then, I'm on holiday for a couple of weeks, so when I come back, hopefully by then my levers will be here. So we could do the levers at the same time. Yeah, good stuff. Speak to you in a while.